Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗏. Today guys, we're going to be diving down into the charts for Harmony One to see what's been going on most recently with the price action of the one coin. Now guys, as we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗏. Right, with all of that said, done and out of the way, let's jump on down into the desktop and take a look at what is going on here with Harmony One. Okay guys, we're going to start things off by really taking a good look at what is going on with our hourly, also to look at the invalidation that's just happened here and where this might actually lead us into next. Okay, so as we get into this, let's take a look at what happened here with this particular pullback. So obviously we were looking at an ABC correction to the downside where we had this scoped out at 16.2 to 17.3 cent. Obviously, this move up that we've had here actually invalidates this low point, just with that one little wick just there going higher than we had over here. So this start position actually comes in at 19.695, and this wick here comes up to 19.721, so invalidation. So we can now go ahead and remove that, and we can actually now recount and see what's going on here. Obviously we have a low point, we have a high point, and we also had this as an ABC. This is still very valid. 16.2 is the ABC to the downside, so that's still valid. It just means that this was not a B wave to the low point, right? So here we can obviously see there's lots of choppiness, so let's go ahead and count this up. We obviously have this low point here, really straightforward to see that this is an ABC, so we'll start there. That's a clear example of an ABC move. Now here we can obviously count micro movements, such as this ABC, and again ABC up. So this is a good way to just kind of make sure that we get everything lined up as we would expect it to be, so therefore we can make some decent assumptions next, right? So ABC down here. Now ABC up is obviously the next thing that was to follow, and again we use a couple of different ways of looking at this. We have this ABC here, and this is actually quite a good ABC move, so let's go ahead and see if this actually ticks the impulsive criteria. It does. It went straight past that 618, but obviously we pulled back down lower than the beginning of wave one, so it's important that we acknowledge that it is just ABC, not impulsive. And what we mean by that is we had this move just here. Now this is where you start to see or potentially get unstuck a little bit. Here is an A, tiny little B, down for C, done, and now we are tracking to the upside. Now here's a little blip and we've pushed back up. The stochastic RSI has actually moved down quite nicely, so here we can acknowledge that this is A, B, C, and potentially A, B, and C actually just kind of playing out right now, a bit of a zigzag. So let's actually zoom in and focus in on that. So we'll just measure this to make sure that we are in good order. And we'll move that over. So we are falling short of this move. So there's a couple of things that could be going on here that was probably worth kind of noting. This could be A here, this could be B, and C is still to come and take us up into this range here. So this C wave should be right up here at 20.1, and it could be that this is actually just an ABC inside of our C wave. Very, very possible, and then you potentially could argue that this is an ABC as well. So there's lots of kind of moves going on. If I take that one away and we actually grab hold of this, we do have the ability to say A, B, and C just here. This then starts this move up, and this then comes down into our B wave low, and then we still end up with that C wave just there. So let me delete that one off and see if that plays out over here. A, B, C, that looks like a 1-to-1 ratio, not a problem. So effectively this could be what we're looking for, tracking nicely to the downside in terms of the stochastic RSI. So we'll measure this distance, and we'll throw this onto here. That gives us our target of about 20.1, which again is aligned to the bigger view that I did also draw out here. So if that's 20.1 there, all of these choppy moves actually seem to also equal a big A, B, and C move coming up to about here as well. So ultimately that's the same kind of conclusion that we draw, depending on how we want to do it, but it's good to kind of measure out all those micro movements. So ultimately we are looking for a push up. on these micro movements of the counts of the waves, but that stochastic RSI needs to come down a little bit. So it might be that B wave jumps down a little bit lower. Wouldn't be too surprised if that is an A, B, and C zigzag. And what I mean by that is inside here with this B wave, we have A, B, and C. And just kind of playing out just here. Okay, so it's looking good. We are looking to track to the upside here to complete this move. But again, as I said earlier, a lot of this is just a big move down with a B wave coming up, maybe up to that 21 cent. And that lower low is still very valid. Anywhere between 16.2 and 17.3 is the zone that I'm really focusing in on, and I think that is where we are likely to revisit longer term. And the reason for this is we take a look at our 4 hourly, we're heavily overbought, the 8 hourly, we're heading up into the overbought area. The daily needs to correct down even further, and of course, the macro view is that we are looking for new all-time highs. So although we are looking at this small kind of push up to the upside, these are micro movements that still have to play out into the downside to actually give us the overview of what is going on slightly longer term for Harmony 1, right? So we obviously have all these micro movements to the upside, but the bigger play is that we're actually going to have a pullback, and that pullback is going to take us into the really sweet spots for accumulation. So all looking pretty good there for Harmony 1 on the smaller time frame. As we have to take a look at this from a 4 hourly perspective, and what does this mean? Well, we can see actually this play here slightly clearer with all these kind of moves that we've been watching, but the play here is very, very clear. We have a really definitive ABC down, which could be this big A wave. The B wave is very, very choppy, right? Not very definitive in what it's doing. And again, you could argue that this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, and now we're looking at a push to the upside again. Very easy, you could count it that way. So we'll keep our minds open to the idea that this is instead of a bunch of ABC corrective moves, even though it's not technically impulsive, it could be wave 1, wave 2, pull down into wave 3, up for wave 4, and then down into wave 5, which would actually be complete right here. Okay, so this low point just north of our area. That's also a good possibility, and then obviously we're starting to see reversal on that. But it's also possible that it's a big A wave down, B wave up, and then C wave down into this lower range. Okay, so we'll have to be mindful over both until one of those is invalidated. So obviously the 5 waves down is concreted in, that's fine. But this ABC, in order to invalidate it, we have to come up all the way into the higher range, grab this horizontal ray. We want to kind of see this above 23.95. We just check to make sure, or 23.6 to be exact, actually. It's 23.6. We want to go past that purple line there, or pink line just there, and that will allow us then to say, yep, definitely not coming down into this lower range. For the 8 hourly, obviously we are looking for corrective action here. So if this is the start of a good push to the upside, which it looks like, a bunch of green candles, then effectively, we'll be looking for a B wave coming down lower, right? So if this is our A wave up, we'd look for that B wave down before going up again. Okay, so a correction is going to be required here on our stochastic RSI to allow that for that correction, right? So keep mindful, be very, very mindful over those kind of movements on there. The daily, of course, has quite a way to go. It's doing well, but it obviously has a little bit more. And again, this actually is after such a significant move, but we have practically retraced all the way into this lower range here. So dropping down lower, possible, but it's not necessarily likely. So we'll be mindful over that we are creating a very similar kind of pattern here. But for now, this is a pretty steep correction for Harmony, and going down lower than origin position, that would effectively mean that we are not going up further anytime soon, but just to the downside. So there's obviously a range here that we want to make sure that we stay above. 16.4 is going to be where we want to stay above. Going down to 16.2 would effectively mean that there's no big trend here, it's just big corrections, and then from there we'll still look for that impulsive break. Now on the weekly chart, this is actually where we're tracking pretty nicely, right? We can see the progress here that Harmony has had, and where I actually think we are in this journey, right? So we actually have this as a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3 up here, a wave 4 low, and we're into the 5th wave, right? And we can obviously measure this distance from here to here, and it gives us a bit of an idea that actually, you know, this comes out towards 58 cent as a minimum, and we obviously have this potentially going out towards much higher levels on the a trend-based fib as well. So I think Harmony is going to do incredibly well. It's going to shock people with the kind of progress that it is going to be making, and I think it's going to do incredibly well long term as well. After all, it is kind of moving mountains, and it is very, very much the team there are forward thinking in terms of what is going on. We take a look, of course, at that stochastic RSI on our weekly. Plenty of room to grow, so there's no worries with that. We just need to see these corrections finally get completed on our daily, our 8-hourly, our 4-hourly, and of course our hourly. Once all of this stuff is lined up nicely, we will be looking at joining the rest of the market here with Harmony One, progressing to the upside very, very nicely. So lots of kind of speculative things going on in the space, but I think ultimately Harmony One's going to be doing very, very well. And again, you know, there's a lot here for Harmony One on the shorter time frames, if you're trading and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, if you're just hodling, I do expect new all-time highs for Harmony One in the very near future. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.